Why? Why should I do that? I want to buy houses. I want to see houses. I want to envision. I want to dream. I want to find my perfect home. I know you do, and I completely understand. But hello everybody, welcome back. It's Naomi, your trusted realtor, and today I'm so excited because today we are starting a series for first-time home buyers called Home Buying 101. Yes, and this particular episode is called Starting the Process. This is for anybody that's just looking to start the home buying process and needs to know where to start, and they're just confused and need some more insight. So this is that episode. Tell your friends, tell your parents, tell your grandparents. This is the episode for them. We're going to go over sitting down with a lender, the difference between being pre-approved and pre-qualified. We're also going to go over some of that confusing mortgage lingo that you may hear your lender say, as well as questions you may want to ask your lender when you're sitting down with them. And then we're going to wrap it all up with some do's and don'ts. So we got a ton of great content for you to tune into and just absorb. So just sit back, relax, and let's dig right into it. Once you have decided that you want to buy a home, the first thing you should do is sit down with a lender. Why? Why should I do that? I want to buy houses. I want to see houses. I want to envision. I want to dream. I want to find my perfect home. I know you do, and I completely understand. But the reason why you want to sit down with a lender first is because you need to know what your budget is, how much money you have in the bank, and how much you can afford to spend on a house. And the reason why that's important to do first is because let's say you preview houses before even sitting down with a lender, and you're searching and you're previewing different properties, and then you find your perfect house. Yes, you found the one and only house. It has everything you need, and you are 110% guaranteed that this is it. And you're ready to make an offer, but you can't because you don't have an approval letter, because you haven't sat down with your lender. And it takes some time. And by the time you go to your lender, you tell your lender, I have everything that you need. Here are all my documents. I found my house, yada, yada, yada. And then your lender goes and does everything, does his numbers, gives you your approval letter. And number one, it's nowhere near what you thought you could get approved for. And number two, your house is already gone and under escrow with somebody else. So to save you all this heartache, we want to sit down with a lender first. This is why sitting down with a lender is the first step. Now, sitting down with a lender can be intimidating, but don't be intimidated, because the lender is there to help you accomplish your goal, which is buying a home. Buying a home is a big investment. So when it's time to find a lender, do your research. Look online, see different ratings of different lenders and who has good ratings, who has bad ratings. Also ask your friends and your family. Odds are that you know somebody that has bought a home. Ask them, what lender did they use, what was the experience that they had, and go from there. A good lender will educate you on the different types of financing and also recommend the best type of financing for you for your financial situation. So as long as you know what your budget is, how much you want to spend based upon what you and your lender have talked about, stick to what you want and go after it. Okay? And don't be afraid to ask questions. So now you're probably wondering, well, what questions do I even ask my lender, or what questions should I ask them? Anything that comes to mind, ask them. If you're hesitant about it, if you don't know what they're talking about, ask them. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Buying a house is a huge investment, and you want to make sure you have a well-rounded idea of what you're getting yourself into. So ask as many questions as you need, and the right lender is going to be patient with you. They're going to understand that you're a first-time home buyer, and they're going to answer any and all questions you may have. To help you, kind of as a basis on what you might want to ask your lender, I have a list of questions Link down below. It's a PDF that you can download of questions that you may want to ask your lender when you sit down with them. I'm going to go over 2 of those questions off that list that you may be like, what is this? Don't worry, we're gonna go over them. Okay. One of the questions you want to ask is, what is the annual percentage rate? Also called APR. And what that is that includes not only your interest expense, but also other things like closing costs, points, broker fees. So it's really important to ask your lender what all is included in your annual percentage rate, so that you have an idea of where your money is going. Another question you want to ask your lender is if they will be doing a hard credit pull. Now this is also called a hard pull. This is a type of credit history that the lender will pull that can show up on your credit report. And when you're shopping around with different lenders, you want to be mindful of how many times they're doing this hard pull, because it can affect your credit report. So just be mindful of that when you're going throughout this process. Okay, so let's move on to the difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification letter. So most realtors, including myself, are going to want you to be pre-approved before even beginning the home buying process. This not only shows the realtor that you're serious about buying a home, but it will allow you to quickly submit an offer when the time comes. This pre-approval letter is sent with the offer to purchase for a home. Now, on the other hand, a pre-qualification is just the lender's best guess of what you might be able to qualify for when it comes to financing, and it won't take you very far in the home buying process. So this is why we want to be pre-approved first, not pre-qualified, pre-approved. And the whole pre-approval process is going to be a more lengthy process than getting pre-qualified. A lot of times pre-qualification letters you can get like online in like 15 minutes. That's not what we want. We want to be pre-approved. This is when you have a lengthy conversation with your lender of choice and you go over your whole financial history, and then they will give you a pre-approval letter, which is your golden ticket into buying a home. Okay? So we want to be pre-approved, not pre-qualified. Okay. So now let's go over some of the mortgage lingo. Some of the terms you may hear when you sit down with your lender. I have a full list of terms below. Don't feel pressured to memorize all these terms. It's just something for you to scan through to familiarize yourself with some of the terms you may hear your lender talk about. I'm only going to go over a few today, but feel free to download that list and look it on through. So first thing we're going to talk about is points. Points are upfront fees paid to your lender at closing. Typically 1 point is about 1% of your loan amount. The more you pay in points, typically the lower your interest rate. So that's what points are. Another term you may hear your lender talk about are closing costs. Closing costs are fees that you pay up and above the cost of the property. So typical closing costs can include appraisals, processing fees, underwriting fees, surveying fees. It varies from transaction to transaction because each one is unique, but essentially that is what closing costs are. Things that you pay are fees that you pay up and above the cost of the property. Another term you may hear your lender talk about is principal. Principal is the balance of your loan, not including the interest rate. So over the span, or typically from month to month, you will pay so much in principal and so much in interest rate. And when you ask your lender for an amortization schedule, it will show you how much you are paying in interest a month and how much you are paying towards the actual principal. Okay, so now that we've gone over sitting down with a lender, the difference between pre-approval and pre-qualified, and then a couple of terms that you may hear your lender talk about, we're going to wrap this all up with some do's and don'ts. So what did we learn today? Do start by sitting down with a lender. Sitting down with a lender first is going to save you a lot of time when you do find your perfect home. Don't start by going to open houses. Sit down with a lender first. Do get pre-approved. Okay, getting pre-approved is going to give you that golden ticket to be able to put offers in on properties. That's very important. don't be afraid to ask questions, okay? Being a first-time home buyer, it's your first time, and you want to make sure you can learn all that you can learn, so when you buy your next home, you know what to do. You know the ropes. This isn't your first rodeo. And lastly, do your research when it comes to finding a lender, when it comes to researching different programs that you may qualify for in terms of financing. Do your research. It's only going to put you in the best position to buy a home. All right, you guys, that's all I have for you guys today. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or text me. I'm more than happy to help. And thank you again for tuning in today. Hopefully you found value in what the information that I brought for you today. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. And hit the notification button too, because you don't want to miss any of the videos coming in this series. And yeah, until next time, you guys, stay blessed.